Then his mini microscope was ready, and a servant called Falma met with Bruno. In Bruno's room, he told Falma to prepare to visit the queen's residence.
皇帝陛下への緊急往診だ。
嫌な感じの咳。
どうした？
あ、いえ。
After Bruno and Falma arrived at the queen's residence, the royal minister named Claude said that the queen's lung condition was worsening. Claude escorted Bruno and Falma to the queen's room. Then Bruno immediately asked permission to examine Queen Elizabeth. Falma paid attention to Bruno's way of examining patients and how to diagnose a disease in this world. After Bruno finished checking the condition of Queen Elizabeth's body, Bruno looked for the queen's illness in the medical record book. But unfortunately, in the medical records, there is no cure for Queen's disease. Even though the Queen's age is not long, Bruno said that he will continue to do as much treatment as possible. The white spots on the Queen's lungs had spread everywhere. Bruno asked Falma for help in preparing the Queen's medicinal ingredients. Falma was shocked after hearing that from Bruno, and he still complied with his father's wish to help manufacture medicine. After the medicine was finished, Bruno told Queen Elizabeth to inhale it. Bruno said this medicine was very effective in curing the Queen's illness. But Bruno didn't tell the Queen what illness she had. Claude also tells the Queen's servant to call the priest because tomorrow might be her last day to live. After hearing this medicine is very effective from Bruno and Claude's comments earlier, Falma was furious because it was only medicine to relieve her suffering and not to cure it. Falma was very familiar with the ingredients that his father mixed. So Falma immediately used his ability to check the condition of the Queen's lungs.
肺結核。つまりは白死病か。これが患者と直接向き合うということなのか。できれば4種類。注射器がない以上、飲み薬を選ぶしかない。
It turned out that the Queen had tuberculosis. Falma knew of effective medicine to cure this disease. There are no syringes to insert medicine in this world, so Falma decided to make medicine that the Queen could drink. Suddenly, two of Queen's sons came into the room to inquire about her condition. One of the Queen's young children cried because he didn't want his mother to die. Falma, who saw this, dared to replace Bruno to treat Queen Elizabeth. He also tries to fight his fear of dealing with patients. At first, Bruno wanted to stop Falma because he was only a pharmacist who was still an apprentice. Haven't had much experience yet. But the Queen scolded Bruno and allowed Falma to make the new medicine. The Queen was a divine arts user, so she trusted Falma completely because Falma still hadn't given up on treating Queen Elizabeth. Then Falma immediately made medicine from pharmaceutical science and research he had done in the previous world. Falma locked the laboratory door with his ice magic so Bruno wouldn't interfere with the medicine-making process. While outside, Bruno warned Falma, who was acting rashly. Bruno still thought that his son was inexperienced in treating patients. Falma wrote the content of substances needed to make tuberculosis medicine. After finishing writing, Falma would start processing the medicine creation. But suddenly, Bruno got angrier with Falma and broke the door with his magic.
Isoniacido, piraginamido, ethambutol.
Bruno warned Falma that tuberculosis was incurable in this world. Bruno disagrees with Falma's medicine being continued. Falma also said loudly that there was a new medicine, which would be a false hope for the Queen. In Falma's mind, he was very impressed with Bruno because he could diagnose diseases directly through his abilities. Unlike Falma, who had to use several tools to diagnose a disease in the previous world. Then Falma said there was a cure for tuberculosis, and Falma wanted his father to also take this medicine so that his cough would subside. When Falma proceeded to make the medicine, Bruno threatened Falma to have him stop this process. Bruno asked what kind of substance Falma had mixed into the medicine. If Falma didn't answer, then the medicine he made was poison for Queen Elizabeth. Then Falma was forced to fight his father. He could not explain in detail the content of the mixed substance because it would take a long time. The queen's life is currently being threatened by a dangerous disease.
俺の剣だ。今お前が調合しようとしているものは何だ。杖なしの無影響で。
Bruno was surprised by what Falma did because he could use magic without chanting spells and carrying a staff. Bruno asked, "Who are you?" But Falma couldn't answer it. He is looking for another reason so that his true identity as Yakutani is not discovered by him. Then Bruno saw the notes Falma had made about pharmaceutical science that didn't exist in this world. Falma reasoned to Bruno that he made the note according to what he had in his dream after the lightning strike that time. Then Bruno also saw the medical god crest on Falma's arm. Bruno didn't expect that Falma had been bestowed such great power from the medical god. Falma begged to be allowed to continue the process of making the medicine. Falma also said that Bruno could hand this medicine to the queen directly. Bruno's name could soar later. After hearing that, finally, Bruno trusted Falma to continue making Queen Elizabeth's medicine. Bruno said that Falma himself should give the medicine to the queen because Queen Elizabeth had already trusted Falma before. A pharmacist must be responsible for what he has done. Bruno had often taught this to Falma. Then Falma erased the ice magic he had created earlier. Bruno was shocked. "Are you really my son? Your personality is very different now."
躍進は我が息子に祝福を授けただと。お前は。本当に我が息子なのか。
そのつもりです。
After the preparations were done, Falma and Bruno immediately headed back to the queen's room. Bruno told Claude that Falma's abilities were already beyond what was in the medical records. Falma wanted to show something to the queen through a mini microscope. Falma got the sample of coughing phlegm that he previously received from the queen. After the queen saw the mini microscope, she was surprised because there were living creatures. Then the queen asked Claude to examine the microscope. Claude was surprised after seeing it, and the servants there also saw something like this for the first time. Then Falma said that the bacteria was inside the queen's body. Falma also explained about the bacteria. If the queen was consistent in taking the medicine that Falma made, then the queen would be completely cured in half a year. Queen did not expect that Falma could give an explanation about this tuberculosis disease. Then the queen would leave this healing process to Falma. After that, Falma gave the medicine while explaining that every day Falma would keep an eye on the queen to take this medicine. Every day Falma would visit Queen Elizabeth's residence. When the medicine was taken by Queen Elizabeth, Falma announced to all the servants there, "We don't need to be afraid of this plague. Because I believe with the medicine I made, this disease can be cured."
ファルマドメディシスか。
なんと素晴らしい真実だ。
誰にでも簡単に作れるものです。
これは一体何なのだね。詳しい説明をぜひ。
After that, Falma and Bruno went home together. Bruno thought about the things he had already taught Falma. Bruno never paid attention to Falma's daily life and what Falma was thinking all this time. Finally, Bruno almost lost his son's life due to a lightning strike. But Bruno concluded and realized that the Falma in front of him was not the real Falma. After arriving home, Falma gave Bruno medicine so his cough could be cured. Then Bruno decided that he would learn even more from Falma. Falma also said he would know how to deal with patients face to face. Falma wanted Bruno to continue to guide him to become a great pharmacist like Bruno.
共に医薬の道を極めましょう。父上。
ありがとう。我が息子よ。
hate you girl だから you can hate me now